means prince of the power of God. Come back to your power. Come back to your true nationality. Your name is not James, Smith, Clark, none of that. Williams, none of that. Johnson, Jenkins, Jackson, your name is not none of that. Your name is simply Israel, Yasharala. You know what I'm saying? Yisrael. That's your name. That means prince. A prince has the power with God. Prince of the power of God. You feel what I'm saying? Why wouldn't you want that name? Because they know who you are. Let's go to Judah 5 and 10 real quick to prove that point. They know who you are. That's why they don't want you to have that name. Why did they change our names in slavery? Go to Judah chapter 5 and verse 10. Why did they change our names in slavery? Because names, like I mentioned in this one section I was commenting on somebody's page, names have power. Words have power. Why do you think they say spells? Huh? Why do you think they say spells? Because you're cursing or you're blessing someone through your words and through the spelling of words. All right. So let's look at Judah chapter 5 and we're going to go to, excuse me, not verse 10, but verse 19. But now are they returned to their God and are come up from the places where they were scattered and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. All right, so this is one of the heathen that knew us. He knew our power. He knew the source of our power. Have you heard about the Ark of the Covenant? Maybe you have. Maybe you've seen Indiana Jones movies like I have. Been like, why do they talk about the Ark of the Covenant so much? Because it's your power. It's part of your power. Why do the Israelites talk about keeping the law so much? Because it's part of your power. You understand? Now, the power doesn't come from you just putting it on. It doesn't come from you just putting it on. It doesn't come from you just doing the laws. It comes from you believing and having the faith on Christ. That's what activates it. That's what activates it. Anybody can put this stuff on. But what activates it is having the faith in Christ, having the faith that you are the Jew, that you are Southern Kingdom, that you are Israelite. All right, Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters, you too. You have to realize this is how we were able to wake back up. Because you brothers and sisters that are in the native tribes, the native indigenous, y'all had those fringes on. Go back and look at the pictures. Look them up right now. The pictures from the 17 and 1800s. Y'all have fringes on your clothes. That's how we were able to connect the dots. Most High is a genius. He helps us to remember who we are. That's how we remember all things. All right, so this guy right here, in the Greek history of our people, he knew the source of our power. Let's prove that. So he actually told him, like, look, I searched this out, so this is what happened. Judah chapter 5 and verse 21. All right, excuse me, verse 11. Therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them. So he's telling his Lord and his emperor about us and how to overtake us. All right. Therefore, the king of Egypt, he's telling our history in Egypt. The king of Egypt rose up against them, talking about us, the Israelites, and dealt subtly with them, and brought them low with laboring in brick, and made them slaves. Then they cry unto their God. He's literally telling the story of how we came. We do that. How do we go against their God? How do we separate them from their God? All right, so he said this. This is the key. Verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. That's simple. Now let's see what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did. All right. Daniel